Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video and continuing on with animated sequel Movie Week. Yes, you read the title, and as I teased in the last review video, I'm sure you guys probably knew and figured, but yeah. Because you read the title, and finally, I am reviewing this computer animated sequel film, which, I gotta say, I really enjoy this more than, say, the first one, because, the thing is, because for me, I most of the time really enjoy movie number 2, of animated films. Like, I really enjoy, and, my personal favorite of the Toy Story films being Toy Story 2, and so on, as an example. But anyway, so yeah, that's right. Again, I am finally reviewing, the sequel to Illumination's first ever computer animated feature film, and it's what made them who they are, and it's what started, them becoming, a new computer animated movie studio. You get my point. And from Universal Pictures. That's right. The first sequel of Despicable Me from 2013, Despicable Me 2. Yes, Despicable Me 2. Again, I think I really enjoy this more than the first one. Now, of course, for those of you that do or do not know, because, I did a review on the first Despicable Me film, obviously, and if you want to go check that out. No, I mean, because I enjoyed the first Despicable Me film, but when it came to, Despicable Me 2, I found myself enjoying this more. No offense to the first Despicable Me film, like I said, okay? And we all have our favorite Despicable Me films, right? So, for me, it's number 2. Yeah, but, I think for a lot of us, including me, we of course remember when the first Despicable Me film came our way, and it made, animation history. Am I not wrong? Especially the Minions. And, it seemed obvious that, possibly, in the next couple of years, we would get a sequel to Despicable Me. And sure enough, we did. I remember, because when this movie was coming out, and some of its trailers, most notably, its teaser trailer, where you had, the Minions singing ba 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 na, and one of them blowing a party horn. That was a heck of a way for that being the teaser trailer to Despicable Me 2. And when the film, gotta slow down, when the film itself finally came out, I remember, because my parents and we did go to see this in theaters, and as I recall, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed Despicable Me 2, and I'm pretty sure because the audience with us were laughing, especially what the Minions were doing in this, no doubt about it. Rewatching this, and, because I sometimes would do rewatches right before I would do my reviews. Rewatching this, it's still great. Amazing. Holds up. Need I go on? Despicable Me 2, it's a great sequel, and for it being the first Despicable Me sequel, I really enjoy it, and, again, this would probably have to be my favorite of the Despicable Me films. Yeah. Okay, so, with that out of the way, the first things I had to say about Despicable Me 2, as always, read the description / the story. Now that Gru has forsaken a life of crime to raise Margot, Agnes, and Edith, he's trying to figure out how to provide for his new family. As he struggles with his responsibilities as a father, the Anti-Villain League, an organization dedicated to fighting evil, comes calling to the AVL. The AVL sends Gru on a mission to capture the perpetrator of a spectacular heist. For who would be better than the world's greatest ex-villain to capture the individual who seeks to usurp, if I'm saying that right, I don't know, his power. Okay, so with that out of the way, yeah, getting into the film itself, because, yeah, like I said, this being the first sequel to Despicable Me, and I'm pretty sure because this came after Despicable Me for Illumination. I have to double check, but anyway, so the movie opening with Antarctic, and a laboratory in Antarctic is captured by this, flying contraption that's basically a magnet, literally. And, this captures the attention of the AVL, and, one of the first characters that we see, I'll go ahead and say his name, Mr. Celis Ramsbottom, being voiced by good old Stephen Coogan. He sends a woman to go fetch, whom obviously we know who it is, which being Gru. And yep, we see Gru once again being voiced by Steve Carell, good old Steve Carell. Gru, is hello everybody. Why not? Doing my Gru impression. And we see that, life for Gru, much better, because no longer a supervillain, now a father, and he's changed his ways, now a good man, and, soon to become, and as the film proceeds, becoming a hero. Yeah, an agent of heroism and such. Gru is throwing a birthday party for one of his adoptive daughters, Agnes, and Agnes once again being voiced by Elsie Fisher, if I'm saying the first name right, and which, by the way, this would be the last time that Fisher would voice Agnes. And also, Edith, once again being voiced by Dana Gayer, if I'm saying her last name right, yeah. And Margot, once again, being voiced by Miranda Cosgrove. Yeah, so again, it's Agnes's birthday party, and, because celebrating her birthday, it's all fantasy, princess-themed, and Gru's pet dog, dressed up as a dragon, playing the part of a dragon, while the minions playing the part of the knights, and, the minions being clumsy at times, and yeah, the minions once again being voiced by Perry Coffin, one of the directors of Despicable Me, as well as Chris Ranod, if I'm saying his last name right, yeah, and, most notably for Coffin, being the voices of, say, Kevin, Bob, Stewart, yeah, those minions that we all know and love so well. Gru at one point, while he's cooking some chicken on a grill, receiving a phone call that someone gonna play the part of the fairy godmother is, not going to show up. And, it's up to Gru to play the part of the fairy godmother and so on. And seeing Gru in that getup, just so hilarious. But in the end, it all goes pretty well, and Agnes likes it. And very sweet of Agnes, coming up to Gru and telling him that, she knows it's him, but she's pretending, so, the other kids would, what she said. Yeah, very, very sweet of her, yeah. And even before Gru stepped out as the, fairy godmother, fairy godmother, princess, the minions, while stalling the kids, while they wait for the fairy godmother or princess to pop up, which being Gru, they were putting on a magic show, and having Edith, have a balloon to her mouth, and using a freaking chainsaw. Good on Margot's part for stopping that. And then, at the party, because Jillian being voiced by Nazim Pedridge, if I'm saying her full name right. I know I have seen her before, yeah. Basically, she is wanting to set Gru up on a date, and some of the ladies that she picks out for Gru, obviously not so good. But true love would come along for Gru, well, in a few moments, because, well, at one point, taking his dog out to, for his dog to take a wee-wee, and, well, enter a new face in the Despicable Me franchise, Lucy. Lucy being voiced by Kristen Wiig. And Kristen Wiig, who previously was in the first Despicable Me film, playing that, pardon my French, but it's true, that bitch lady, because at the orphanage, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because we all hate that character. But at the same time, Kristen Wiig, she did good at voicing that character, and I guess probably Illumination had a great time working with Kristen Wiig. They felt as though that maybe they should probably give her another voice role, and whom would become one of the main characters of the Despicable Me franchise, which being Lucy. Yeah, Lucy being hypergenic and, being a part of the AVL, and basically her bringing in Gru. Gru is not going to cooperate and using his freeze ray, but, Lucy, whipping out a device, flames and such, and her tasing him with the lipstick taser. And, well, two of the minions spot that their boss is in trouble, and them trying to go after and save their boss. But then, one of the minions is, overalls, stretching and just... God, so funny. When at one point he gets in a box and, some undergarms or whatever, and causing the minion in the box to fly in the air. And when Lucy spots them, well, they are witnesses, so now they have to come along. Yeah. And then we come to the Anti-Villain League. Yeah, AVL for short. In this submarine, and basically Gru has been summoned to... basically put to the task on finding out whoever this is that has, literally captured a laboratory in the Antarctic, and what came from this laboratory, which being called the PX 41 serum. It's a serum, and basically the PX41 is a mutation energied in the top secret PX labs. Yeah, that's the name of the laboratory that was in the Arctic Circle. Yeah, so whomever this is that has stolen this serum and, well, is going to do something evil with this serum, and they show a little demonstration on cameras, what the serum does. It's being tested on a rabbit, and the rabbit turns purple and just goes chaotic and just dangerous. So that's what the serum does. So yeah, again, they offer Gru a job to track down whomever this villain is that has, captured the serum and is going to use this serum for evilness and, well, possibly take over the world. Of course! If you know that reference, you know. Anyways, but Gru, he's not interested. Not to mention because the Anti-Villain League, because they, interested in bringing in ex-villains, and they are well aware as... Mr. Bottom, Mr. Ramsbottom, even Gru and the two minions, laugh at that. And most notably, the minions, Bottom. Yeah, we all know that. So, yeah, Mr. Ramsbottom, telling Gru that they are aware of what he was doing when he was a villain. How he, stole the moon, but he, corrects them that, well, yes, the moon was stolen, but he put it back in space, as we all know at the end of the first Despicable Me film. But just again, overall, Gru, he's not really interested, and Gru and the two minions disembarking, and outside, out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, and there's a boat just sitting there for them. But then Lucy popping up and, saying that she thought it was really awesome what he was doing when he used to be a villain. And if he does change his mind, well, she asks him to give them a call, giving her a car, her giving him a card. Yeah. And them rowing back and, bye-bye, bye-bye. And when we see him back at the house, like, did his 3 adoptive daughters never wonder where he out of nowhere went all day? Just, oh well. But yeah, when tucking them to bed, Gru can't help but notice and be a little concerned of Margot texting someone, like whether if it's a boy or a girl, But yeah, and to speed things up, because what goes on in Gru's house? Well, because Gru has given up and is no longer a villain, well, what is he doing now? And even when he turned down the offer of finding out who stole the serum, well, he's in the business of jam and jelly. His minions making jam and jelly, most notably Dr. Nefario, and Dr. Nefario, once again, being voiced by Russell Brand. It's still amazing, because you would never guess that it was Russell Brand voicing Dr. Nefario, because he's doing a voice for Dr. Nefario, just, yeah. Dr. Nefario, just very, as of now, made a new taste of jam and such, and when Gru and a few of the minions taste it, to them it's god-awful. And then Dr. Nefario hates to break it to Gru, but he basically tells Gru that he misses the days of being evil and so on, and he also tells Gru that he was given an offer to do something evil and so on, and well, thus Dr. Nefario is disembarking, and the farewell ceremony that they give to Dr. Nefario, it is touching, but at the same time funny, because with those fart guns and the motor scooter that Nefario uses, like, just driving slow, and when it starts to fly in the air, it going slow, Goodbye, my friends, I may be here for a while, so, so funny. And yeah, so, but of course that's not the last time we, see Dr. Nefario, no. And then at a certain point, one of the first minions mysteriously disappears, because throughout the film, some of the minions start to disappear, and, yeah, because whomever this is that is capturing the minions, and, well, if anybody would not figure it out immediately, that probably, with the minions mysteriously being captured, this would have to do something with the serum, right? Well, until I get there. So yeah. But then eventually, Gru decides that, you know what, he'll join. He'll join in, tracking down whoever it is that has captured the serum, and yeah, applying to, work alongside with the AVL, short for Anti-Villain League. And also, Margot, Agnes, and Edith, well, they're planning to set up Gru on a date, and them trying to pick up a picture for him, and and when they ask him when he comes in the room, which celebrity does he almost look like, and him saying Bruce Willis, and what are you doing, and yeah, he doesn't like this. No, he's not interested in going out on a date with someone. But Margot sets Gru straight that it's time for him to go out there and so on. Yeah. But thankfully, whom would become Gru's true love interest? Yeah, so, and if, you couldn't figure it out already. But yeah, again, Gru has officially decided to apply for the Anti-Villain League, and giving the news to his 3 adoptive daughters, and, because he is basically gonna be sent to the Paradise Mall, where, whomever this mysterious villain is that has stolen the serum is present and is actually running one of the stores in the Paradise Mall. And Gru making his way there and making his way into this bakery shop, and just so happens that Lucy is there, and Lucy has been assigned to be Gru's partner. Gru doesn't like this at first, and when the minions, a few of the minions tag along with Gru, and when Lucy... Doesn't she know by now? Because she went and attacked one of them, just like pinning them on the front counter, and just... She saw them and just, I don't know, but just, yeah. But yeah, even when Gru tells Lucy that, he's one of my minions, the minion, then, like, falls in love with Lucy. Oh my gosh. So funny. But yeah, overall, because now Lucy and Gru are now partners to track down whomever it is in Paradise Mall running those shops that's their villain. Yeah. And then we get the introduction of Eduardo Paris, if I'm getting his first name right. Again, you know me sometimes. Being voiced by Benjamin Bratt, who would go on to voice another... technically, yeah, because Paris, he does turn out to be I guess you could say, like, a surprise villain, I'm sure. But my point being, Benjamin Bratt, he would go on to voice another surprised villain from Pixar, Coco. Yeah, so... I'd almost forgotten, because, yeah, before Coco, he was in this, voicing Paris, yeah. And he basically runs this shop of, Mexican food and stuff like that. Well, and seeing as how that's where he comes from, and, Paris, he's funny at first, but until you realize and discover that something's off with him. Even Gru, he believes at first, and which he turns out that he would be right when it is revealed. Gru believes that Paris is El Macho, and Gru, going into full detail, telling Lucy and describing to her on who El Macho was, doing some crazy things with his bare hands, and the most craziest stunt that he had ever done, and presumably he got killed by this, riding on a shark with a lot of bombs attached to him and on the shark, and making his way straight to a volcano. Yeah, there's no chance that he would have survived that. So yeah, it's presumed that he died from that crazy stunt. But little does Gru really know, and us audience at first, about El Macho, just, yeah, anyways. Yeah, so, and to speed things up, because, yeah, Gru and Lucy, the time that they spend in Paradise Mall, tracking down whom their villain could be, who stole the serum, but with that going on, still, the minions, at times, being captured by whomever it is. And, like, say, there's one moment where two of the minions, like, they're playing golf, and, well, because Gru had them tuck the three girls into bed, and then they start to play golf. However, outside, they hear some rustle, and, well, it turns out to be a cat, but a light beam hits them, and they float away. They're being taken away. And even when one of them, was holding on to a cat, but then the cat was put back down, and the cat, not scared by this, just went back to minding his own business, bathing, so... yeah. And speed things up still, because, yeah, like, more that happens and that goes on in Paradise Mall. Well, because a sequence where Gru and Lucy, they sneak into the mall because they suspect at a certain point that it's probably Eduardo, yeah, by sneaking into his restaurant. And even when they come face-to-face with a chicken. And when Lucy, at first, like, she was trying to see if there were any, lasers and stuff like that. But there wasn't. And even when, like, they cause a bell to ring, well, a door opens and we see a chicken. And it's just a chicken. What could happen next? Well, we see that the chicken starts to attack Gru. Well, clearly, because this is Edorado's pet chicken. And surely, because the chicken was specifically trained to attack, a threat and stuff like that, yeah. And ultimately and eventually they stop the chicken, like, using a freeze ray, and them sneaking in the back of the kitchen, and at one point, like, Gru using an X-ray device, scanner, and even, like, looking at Lucy and can see, like, her brain and, like, the teeth and eyes, like, it's so funny, and, oh, that's an image I'll never get out of my brain. And then ultimately, there's a safe, and supposedly that could be the serum, and when they open it, well, it's not. It's Edorado's secret sauce. And when he does show up, Edorado, well, he can already immediately tell and suspect that something's off and someone is possibly in his restaurant. And even when we cut back to Gru and Lucy, they are trying and tasting his secret sauce. But thankfully they get out of there on time, even when Edorado just barely got a glimpse of knowing that it was them. So yeah. And them escaping, and again, the minions, well, yeah, because when they snuck in, after hours, when Paradise Mall was closed, two of the minions tagged along with Gru and Lucy, and, well, they're them driving the car, but they missed Gru and Lucy, but ultimately, yeah, because them getting in the car, Lucy taking the wheel, and, well, the car activating its wings, and, yeah, breaking through the giant dome of Paradise Mall. So, yeah, ultimately, they did get out of there on time. And coming back to what happens with the minions at times being captured, well, there's one moment where an ice cream truck shows up. Three children, they're running to the ice cream truck, but the minions, all of them rush out, and yeah, they make their way to the ice cream truck, but nobody is opening, like, the door and such, like, well, is someone gonna pop up and hand them ice cream? No, because apparently this ice cream truck is no ordinary ice cream truck. Basically, it's another, like, contraption and such to mysteriously capture the minions, vacuuming them up, and even when one of them tries to escape, but the ice cream truck distracts the minion, with a green popsicle, yeah, and falls for it, of course, and the minion's tongue gets stuck. Yeah. But, thankfully, not all of the minions got captured, and, even when Gru comments that, he hadn't been seen of any of the other minions, like, is this really not suspicious for Gru? Seriously. Yeah. I mean, us audience, we know what's going on, but Gru doesn't yet, nor does anybody else. Agatha, Edith, and Margot, yeah. And coming back to Paradise Mall, well, even aside from, Edorado being, suspected, someone else that is suspected to possibly being the villain and stealing the serum is, well, someone else in Paradise Mall that runs a shop, that being Floyd Eagle San, being voiced by Ken Jeong, if I'm saying his last name right. The comedian, yeah. Floyd Eagle San, the shop that he runs, well, basically with wigs and so on, and Gru having, like, a contraption to him, like, to detect anything that could be, like, behind walls or inside of objects where possibly the serum could be. There's really nothing, but at a certain point, and Lucy points out to Gru to go to one wall and such, but also, Agnes, Edith, and Margot happen to be at Paradise Mall for them to come see Gru, doing his job, and this is the first time that they meet Lucy, and Agnes, technically, falls in love with, Lucy. Well, basically, possibly viewing her, possibly as a mother or something, and asking, the first thing she says to Lucy is, are you single? And asking Gru if he's gonna marry Lucy. You know, not to mention because Agnes having Gru help her out with a rehearsal that she's doing for a Mother's Day show. That was pretty funny. But yeah, so, and while they're still in the mall, well, because Agnes, like, throwing a coin in the fountain, like, obviously she's wishing hard for Lucy and Gru to get together. And we see very greedy, not like, you know, evil or anything, but just you know, Edith basically stealing coins and pennies and such from the fountain, and Agnes does set her straight on that. And for Margot, well, she happens to spot and falls in love with a cute boy named Antonio, and Antonio being voiced by Moses Aris, if I'm saying his full name right. I hope so. But yeah. Enter Antonio, whom Margot falls for, and Antonio, you know, making a move on Margot. And when Agnes and Edith, they informed Gru that Margot is dating a boy and such, and right in the middle of when Gru was trying to suspect that it could be Floyd Eagle Sand, that, you know, he could possibly be the villain. Yeah, all that being interrupted, and when Gru, you know, hears about this, and when he tries to locate Margot, and they go in Edorado's restaurant, and just so happens that Antonio is his son. Yeah, and Ed Dorado coming out doing a dance performance, and it's pretty funny, but yeah. And Ed Dorado trying to, you know, make things positive, you know, and the whole thing of love and such between his son and Margot and so on. Yeah. But, you know, in the end, because they weren't able to, you know, crack down, if possibly Floyd Eagle San is their villain, or say Ed Dorado, as I just talked about, when they sneak in after hours in Paradise Mall after closing time. And coming back to Jillian, because, well, Jillian still not giving up and trying to set Gru up on a date. This time, Jillian sets Gru up with Shannon, and Shannon being voiced by, and you would definitely, you would know it's her, right? Of course. She's got such a recognizable voice. Kristen Schaal, if I'm getting her last name right, aka the voice of Trixie the dinosaur from the Toy Story films, and she was, yeah, she was also the lunch lady character in Captain Underpants. But yeah, she's got a great voice and has done a lot of great voice work, yeah. But most notably, yeah, best known for being the voice of Trixie. So yeah, she's the voice of Shannon, whom is, you know, going out on a date with Gru. And when Jillian did show up, well, because Gru pretending not to be here and asking Agnes to, you know, tell Jillian that he's not here, Gru says he's not here. No, and just, you know, he's doing something and he's pooping? Not helping Agnes. Jeez. But, yeah, and Jillian not being fooled by this, and, well, Gru, well, he can't get out of this. And thus, that same evening, he goes out on a date with Shannon. Yeah. But wearing a toupee. And the conversations that Shannon and Gru have, just not really good, especially for Gru. And just so happens that Lucy pops up in the same location where Gru and Shannon are having a date, you know, out for dinner. And Lucy, well, because going in the same restaurant that they're in, and just going for, basically being there for a pickup order, yeah. But she does happen to see and spot Gru out on a date. And, well, luckily, because the earpieces and overhearing the conversation, and, Gru accidentally, like, moving the wig he's wearing, and Shannon realizing that, yeah, Gru is a phony, and she hates phonies, and is slowly about to take off the wig and expose everybody in the restaurant. But thankfully, not on Lucy's watch, yeah, because she basically tranquilizes Shannon, saving Gru, but he still took the wig off. Just and in the end, because, you know, she's conked out and them trying to drag her out of the restaurant. God, so funny. And, you know, especially it looks like she's had too many drinks. So, but yeah, them dropping her off back at the house, and, well, something good comes along the way for both of them. Like, this is where, you know, they seem to start to fall for one another, and so on. And maybe possibly Gru would consider asking Lucy out on a date. Yeah. And coming back to the Minions, because we do see, after all the moments where we saw them being captured mysteriously, what happened to the Minions? Where have they gone to? Well, the one Minion with the green popsicle still stuck to his tongue wakes up and happens to see that he and his fellow Minions are safely on a beach. Paradise for them, yeah. They get, you know, they're getting an extended vacation, but little do they know that, well, and I think it's obvious that something bad is going to happen to them because, well, until the preparations are ready, because, you know, having the Minions relax on this beach until, you know, something happens to them, you know. And we see a glimpse of someone with black gloves, and who could that possibly be, watching over the Minions on a monitor? Well, we find out a little later on. And when coming back to Gru, well, because the next day, well, waking up and happy as ever, and making his way to the Paradise Mall, and this is where we get our song number from Pharrell Williams, Happy. Yeah. And you know, by the way, because I'm pretty sure I'm probably right. I'm pretty sure it was tough competition between Despicable Me 2 and the first Frozen film, right? Because, well, both of them coming out the same year, and they were, if not two of the biggest successful animated films of that year, you know, especially two great songs came from those two films. And when the Oscars happened, though, each of those songs being performed by Pharrell Williams and Idina Menzel, and, well, with Despicable Me 2 being nominated for Best Animated Feature, yeah, because, well, obviously, Frozen won, and also won for Best Song, which being Let It Go, yeah. But still, you know, Frozen and Despicable Me 2, both were really good, yeah. And like I said, I think it is obvious, tough competition. And you guys can let me know in the comments section, like, if you think so too. I'm pretty sure, yeah. But anyway, so Gru making his way to Paradise Mall, happy as ever, while Happy plays, and interacting with some of the people, like those doing yoga, or playing frisbee, playing drums, and then, well, when he makes his way inside of Paradise Mall, all of that happiness gone, because he can see that the shop where Floyd Eagle San was running, well, presumably, they suspect and think that, well, they've captured their villain, which being Floyd Eagle San. And even when Floyd says that he was framed, he's believed to be the bad guy and having, you know, captured the serum. And, well, case is closed, or is it? And, well, sadly, Lucy is being reassigned to Australia, and it seems as though that, yeah, Gru's job is done, yeah, and because Mr. Ramsbottom being there and giving Gru the sad news and details, and you know, Gru and Lucy, they think at first that, this is goodbye, and, well, yeah, again, Lucy moving to Australia, and a bit of humor right here, because when Lucy is trying to practice her Australian accent, and a mention of Hugh Jackman, well, because Hugh Jackman is Australian, so, yeah, pretty funny, but at the same time, it is sad, you know, because when we think at first, and for both Gru and Lucy, this is goodbye for now. Yeah, so, Yeah, so, yeah, everything for Gru when it was looking so great and happy, but all dying down, just, yeah, and even when he walks back home, sadly, he just, like, those that he interacted with those playing drums out on the street, those doing yoga, just pushing them aside or kicking, just, oh my gosh, Gru. Did you really have to do that? And Gru's sitting out there all sad and alone on the porch, but very sweet of Agnes. Because it's raining, she comes out with an umbrella, yeah. And, well, Gru thinks that probably, even though despite Lucy disembarking for Australia, he still wants to ask Lucy out on a date, and trying to practice and trying to just reach for the phone and call her. And even when one of the minions was dressing up as Lucy as a practice and such. Funny. But yeah, Gru can't grasp on picking up the phone and just, yeah, even when he, like, sets it to flames, and it was shown in the trailer where the minions come in to put out the fire and being firemen, and one of the minions being the sirens and using a bullhorn. Beto, Beto, God. But anyways, and after that, and to speed things up, because early on, Ed Dorado invited Gru and his 3 daughters to this party happening, and, well, yeah, they proceed to this party, and still Margot and Antonio flirting with one another and dancing, and Gru trying to intervene and stop this, but, yeah, Margot and Antonio are refusing for this to happen, most notably Margot, and, well, Gru still feeling sad, and because he blew his chance trying to, pick up the phone and ask Lucy out on a date, yeah. And obviously, because how he's feeling towards Margot with a boy, yeah. And Ed Dorado coming up to Gru, and he understands and knows the look on Gru's face, what's going through him, yeah. And the advice that Ed Dorado gives to Gru and such. And, by the way, the hat that Gru was wearing being made of nachos, yeah, and the stuffing, green stuff, so funny. And then at one point, and after the talk that Ed Dorado gave to Gru, Gru happens to notice Ed Dorado mysteriously walking off, sneakingly and such, and Gru still suspecting on Ed Dorado, and if possibly, he really is El Macho. So Gru following him, and, Ed Dorado making his way to this secret room, and there's like a floor, like, tapping on the squares and, playing the right tune and just, yeah, and taking an elevator, and Gru attempting to do so, but a few times he doesn't succeed, but at the very end, yeah, and all the booby traps that, hit on him, like, spikes or, say, darts, so funny, and being set to flames, jeez, poor Gru. But ultimately, yeah, he makes his way in further, following Ed Dorado, and when he comes face to face with Ed Dorado, and even notices the giant flying contraption, that is in the style of a magnet, yeah. And yeah, Ed Dorado is the bad guy. He's the one that stole the serum, and it turns out Gru was right. He is El Macho. El Macho did survive from that crazy stunt that Gru talked about, and as I said, yeah. And we see that the serum being used on Gru's minions, yeah, because Kevin, yeah, one of the main minions, Kevin, being the first ones to be tested on with the serum and turning purple and crazy hair and just, a monstrous machine and dangerous, and can basically chomp on anything, just, yeah, and not be affected by anything, being wounded and such. And it just so happens, whom is working alongside with El Macho, and with the whole thing of the serum and being used on the minions? Dr. Nefario. Yep, I should have seen it coming, because, yeah, did we not suspect at first that Dr. Nefario would be working alongside with El Macho, because El Macho's doing something evil? Yeah, and Dr. Nefario, he at first has no problem with it, with what he's involved with. And El Macho tries to convince and talk with Gru to join him. And basically, Gru can be evil again, and, well, they can take over the world, of course. But Gru, well, of course he's not going to do this, and he tries to talk his way out of it, just walking off, and, oh, no, I can sit there, yeah, I'm in. And when he's trying to shut the elevator and get out, yeah, like, El Macho does suspect, and I don't think he's joining. And, well, Kevin, now a purple mutant minion, is unleashed and, well, going after Gru. And, well, thankfully, Gru manages to get out of there and in the party, fetching Edith and Agnes and Margot. And by this point, we see Margot all alone, sad, wearing one of those nacho hats. And, well, what happened? And well, I think it's obvious. And we see that, Antonio is dancing with another girl, yeah. And Margot saying that she hates boys, and Gru agreeing, and nice on Gru's part, because using his freeze ray on Antonio, and even the girl that Antonio was dancing, well, because he was holding her hand and can't break free, yeah. Antonio did deserve it. Well, I mean, you know, he is the son of a bad guy, so yeah. So they get out of there. However, when coming back to Lucy, and while Gru was making his way, you know, through the bowels of where El Macho was making his way to, you know, Lucy, by that point had gotten on a plane, but while she was on the plane, she couldn't stop thinking of Gru, because she was starting to see Gru everywhere on the plane, like on a magazine, and a stewardess, and some of the passengers, even a baby, you know, as Gru saying, I made a boo-boo. And the stewardess, because she approached Lucy with a cart, you know, of snacks and such, Madam, I need you to make a choice. And Lucy, in response, I choose Gru! I choose Gru! And not a problem to them for some reason, the stewardess and the plane passengers. Lucy opening an escape hatch and flying out of the plane. No one said anything. Why? Who cares? And what goes on in the movie? Oh, well, it's how it is. And very cool, because Lucy, her purse, like, turns into a, you know, paraglider, you know, that whole thing. Pretty cool. Came in handy. Yeah, so thus she's making her way back to Gru. And by the time that Gru and his 3 daughters left the party and, well, escaping from El Macho, Lucy had shown up, and, well, the chicken approaching Lucy, and, well, El Macho apologizing to Lucy because his chicken really doesn't act that way. Well, the chicken did act that way to Gru the next time that El Macho saw Gru, after both he and Lucy broke into his restaurant. Yeah, so El Macho starts to become suspicious, and then it doesn't take him too long to realize, yeah, that both Gru and Lucy, they work for the Anti-Villain League, and, well, now Lucy is now held hostage by El Macho, and just so happens that Dr. Nefario happened to see this, and, you know, crikey. And back at Gru's house, well, at one point, Nefario calls up Gru and warns him that Lucy is in danger. She came back, and, well, and also telling him what El Macho is going to do, and, yeah, that's all he can give to Gru. And I think it's obvious that, well, Nefario is very quickly regretting being a part of this kind of evil, you know, and especially with what happens when, you know, the minions got captured, and, you know, the minions, along with Gru, you know, being family to Nefario, yeah. So, Gru and 2 of the minions, they go out there and, well, you know, go after to stop El Macho and to save Lucy. And as for Margot, Edith, and Agnes, well, them remaining home. However, at one point, Kevin, by that point, you know, being turned into a purple mutant minion, and because he was unleashed going after Gru, showing up at the house, and it's just Margot and Agnes in the living room, and breaking down the window and going after Margot and Agnes. But then at one point, he had his eyes on Agnes's unicorn, kind of munching on it a little bit, and then Agnes, just, oh my gosh, that kind of scream from a little girl, how can you not stand that? Yeah. It even causes the glass in Kevin's goggles to break, and he can hardly see. And, well, then making their way downstairs in the laboratory, and, well, Edith being there, and at times Edith doing some karate, and especially at times whenever, seeing some, whether, Margot with Antonio or Gru with Lucy, can I be the first to say, ew. Oh, Edith, yeah. Kevin's still chasing after them. However, out of nowhere, someone puts an antidote in Kevin, and he's back to normal. It's Dr. Nefario. He's come back, and as much as he enjoys doing evil stuff, he doesn't like what's happening with his family, because, they're his family. He won't let this happen to them. It's unacceptable, and again, it's obvious that it didn't take him that long to regret being a part of this kind of evil that El Macho's doing. So yeah, an antidote that Dr. Nefario has, but also using that god-awful taste of gel and jam that he made, and when Gru and a few of the minions, they tasted it earlier. Yeah, using that to bring the minions back to their old selves. And when coming back to Gru and the two minions, and, well, the two minions in disguise with purple makeup and pretending to basically take Gru, because Gru being held captive by the two mutant minions, but, they're in disguise, and kind of goes along at first, but doesn't last long. Especially when one of the minions gets into a little tussle with one of the purple mutant minions, and accidentally wiping off his makeup, and yeah, their cover is blown. And them being chased, and, and to speed things up, because ultimately, and sure enough, Dr. Nefario, and along with the other minions, they step in, saving the day, helping Gru and the two minions by, firing the bad taste of gel jam, that being the antidote to bring them back to their old selves, which is working. And, just so happens that the girls tagging along as well. And, they do their part well, helping out and firing the jam, gel, and such on the minions, yeah. So, all the minions being turned back to their old selves, and, what else can El Macho do by this point? Well, when Gru comes face to face with El Macho, trying to stop him and to locate and save Lucy, at one point, El Macho showing Gru that Lucy is tied up to a giant rocket with a shark and bombs, and it is set to make its way to a volcano. The same thing that El Macho did, which, surprisingly, he did survive from. But probably not possible for poor Lucy. Yeah. And then, El Macho, he out of nowhere takes the serum, and he becomes a giant purple mutant, that's furry and such. But ultimately, the minions and Dr. Nefario, they defeat El Macho, not by using those guns with the jam gel, no. They use the fart guns to knock him out, and thus, yeah, he's knocked out, and El Macho is defeated once and for all, yeah. And Gru then untying and saving Lucy, and when the remote with the big red button, because El Macho had it, but it was knocked out of his hand, and the minions catching it, but it fell out of their hands and such, yeah, and after, again, El Macho being defeated, Gru trying to untie and save Lucy, El Macho's chicken stepping in and pushing the red button. And Gru's comment, just right before the rocket takes off, "I really hate that chicken." And the rocket taking off, and, Lucy being untied, and even the shark was untied, and it landed on this, like, picnic table or something, and they have their dinner, a shark. Not really a picnic table, but, I want to say, like, sushi or something? You know when you saw this movie, but yeah. And when they're this close to the volcano, Gru finally asks Lucy, asking her out on a date, and she accepts, yeah. And sure enough, because they do get off of, they get off the rocket, jumping off of it, and just in time, because the rocket making its way to the volcano, a big explosion, part of the volcano blowing up, just, yeah. And, well, all ends well. And, Gru and Lucy are okay in the ocean, and the minions, a couple of the minions happen to be out there, on a rowboat. Bye, bo! And they pass by them, and, well, Gru's saying that they'll be back. And then 100 days pass, and we out of nowhere cut to the minions singing their rendition of I Swear in minion language. And, well, a wedding is happening. Gru and Lucy's, of course. Yeah, they officially get married. And we do get an appearance of Gru's mother, although she doesn't have any speaking lines, and, well, it's not Dame Julie Andrews. But that's okay. I mean, she would come back to reprise the role of Gru's mother in the later installments of the Despicable Me franchise, but, overall, it was still nice to see that she obviously attended to her son's wedding. Yeah, and still, like, moments between her and Dr. Nefario while they're dancing, because, yeah, they get married, and at one point, Agnes, trying to make a toast, and, well, Margot helps out her little sis by tapping on the glass, and, well, a very sweet and cute speech that Agnes gives to Gru, and most notably to Lucy, yeah. And one more song rendition that the minions sing, which being YMCA. And wearing the getup that What's-Em-Faces they wear, singing YMCA, so funny. And everybody getting together, taking a picture, and then, out of nowhere, there's one minion left that's still a purple mutant minion. Ugh, what a way to end that off, but surely, because that minion was taken care of. And during the end credits, well, the minions doing some funny stuff, blowing party horns, and just... And just like in the first Despicable Me film, when during the end credits they were trying to reach for the screen, whole 3D thing, just, it was funny. But yeah, a funny way to end off Despicable Me 2, and also good, yeah. Despicable Me 2. What a fantastic computer-animated sequel this was. And hey, not only this being the first Despicable Me sequel, but Illumination's first sequel, yeah. The story to Despicable Me, really good. The cast of characters, new faces stepping in, and some of them whom would become, main characters of the Despicable Me franchise, most notably Lucy, and being the official love interest and wife to Gru, and what would come next for them, especially in the fourth installment. The funny and emotional moments, really good too. The animation, of course, and the unexpected moments, and the surprised villain, and things like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming, like, say, with Nefario and so on. But in the end, Nefario, he did the right thing, and yeah, because they were his family, and as I said, the music and score, yeah, and with what the minions do in Despicable Me 2, hilarious, of course. Yeah, just overall, Despicable Me 2, a really good computer-animated sequel, and I'm giving Despicable Me 2, well, why not, and, well, what the heck, 10 out of 10 stars, yes, 10 out of 10 stars for Despicable Me 2. And what about you guys? What did you think of Despicable Me 2 itself? Is it your favorite of the Despicable Me films in the Despicable Me franchise? What did you enjoy the most in Despicable Me 2? Any of you, like me, that got to see this in theaters, your first experience watching this, and, well, when it came to, say, big things that would come in the film, like the song Happy, yeah, and, like I said, like, the songs and the music and score, all really good, and especially Pharrell Williams with Happy. Yeah, like, do you enjoy that song still? And, you know, how did you feel with the tough competition between Despicable Me 2 and Frozen, and most notably with each of the songs that were in those movies? And who were some of your new favorite characters, like, say, Lucy, and what did you think on what the Minions were doing in the second installment? Just, yeah, overall, what do you think of Despicable Me 2 itself? And with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Despicable Me 2. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward. And I'll see you guys in the next video / review. And, well, Animated Sequel Movie Week is still continuing. And, well, there's 2 more left. And the second to last computer animated sequel that I'll be reviewing, well, I did mention DreamWorks earlier, and yeah, that's what it is. And to best describe it, we return to Burke. I think you know exactly what it is. Again, stay tuned for that. Take care, and until I review Despicable Me 3, peace out. Banana?